I have my water and I have my coffee, and we can film another in-depth review after a week of use. Today we're gonna talk about the NARS Light Reflecting Foundation. So the first thing, like always, we're gonna talk about my skin type. So my skin type is combination. My skin is more towards dry than oily. So I have slightly oily chin and nose and forehead, and rest of my face is more on the drier side. Like you can see, I have a lot of texture. I have pimples, I have redness on my cheeks, I have sebaceous filaments on my nose. My skin is very sensitive, but you know, to the foundation, like, okay, if foundation is really perfumed or have bad ingredients in it like alcohol, my skin can just not agree with it. The next thing is, what are my foundation preferences? So I like foundation to have medium coverage, skin-like finish. So I don't mind satin finish, I don't mind glowy finish. The best would be just like skin-like finish. So the finish of foundation matches my neck. My neck is kind of in between glowy and matte. It's like satin. I put the same skincare on my neck, but my skin is glowy and my neck don't want to be glowy. So I don't like full coverage for now. But I want my foundation to be able to build up. On the places where I have blemishes, I don't like using concealers. My skin don't like using concealers. Usually if I have to use concealer, I would use it under the foundation because it's really hard to find a shade for me of foundation. And when it comes to concealer, you know, I like when concealer matches the color of foundation, and it's really hard for my skin to match anything. So application, when it comes to application of this foundation, it applies really easily. It's spreading really easy. It's melting into the skin. So when you're gonna spread it, it's just looking like your skin, but better. It can be built up, so that is good for me. Anyway, I use concealer underneath for my blemishes, but it's always good for me to have this option that I can get more coverage from my foundation. I applied it with a sponge, and I think it's the best way to apply this foundation because it's very runny. So if you're gonna use a brush, the finish can be more streaky than with like more thicker foundation. Yes, you're losing some coverage with sponge with this foundation because it's runny, but I think the finish is better with a sponge than with a brush. But it's up to your preferences. I usually don't like brushes at all because my skin is very sensitive. What products cooperate with this foundation? When it comes to powder, you can literally use every powder. I'm using the Huda Beauty baking powder. This foundation works with every single powder I used, no matter if it was drugstore, no matter if it was pressed powder or loose powder or high-end powder. So it's working with a talc based powder, it's working with silica based powder. It's looking beautiful with every type of powder. When it comes to primer, it's water based foundation, so it's not gonna use so it's not gonna work with silicone based powders, primers, with silicone based primers. Anyway, I tried it with silicone-based primer, just, you know, to be sure that what I'm saying is really true, and it really is. When you put silicone-based primer, like professional, so the best to use, it's water-based primer. I start to use it with a Faced Hangover primer, and I must say it's the best primer I was using with this foundation, because it's giving a little bit glowy base, but it's also filling up a bit, and my skin feels hydrated during the day. So when I first used this foundation on my first impression video, I felt my skin was a little bit drier, but I didn't use a primer, and it was a mistake. Use a primer with this foundation, because it's gonna emphasize the pros of this foundation. When I use it on skincare have oils, it was not holding too well. But if you will use primer, it will really hold a long time. When it comes to creams, blushes, cream contours, working really beautiful. Next thing is how it feels during the day. So I already told you that it feels neutral on the skin if you're not using hydrating primer underneath. So if you have really dry skin, I would suggest using really good hydrating primer. Like I said, I love to use it with Hangover primer, because it's gonna feel really comfortable during the day. If you're gonna use it on top of your skincare, it can feel dry, because it would be just like, you know, you put your skincare and then you put powder on top of your skin. Obviously it will feel dry. It feels like nothing. This foundation feels like you have nothing on your face, but it's working similar, like you have nothing on your face. So if you powder down your face with a skincare on, if you are very dry, you're gonna feel the dryness, because it's powder, it's sinking in oils, you know. But if you put skincare and then another really hydrating cream and then powder, your face wouldn't feel this dryness. So next thing, how it wears. In my first impression video I taken up, and it was a mistake because it wears off when I taken up. Also, I didn't use a primer, and it was, for me, I think, big thing, like huge change. So if you use a primer, and like I said, any primer, it don't have to be very sticky primer. Hangover is not drying out too sticky, but it's wearing really so much better with a primer. Next thing, it's wearing really beautiful, and it's not wearing off, it's not losing too much coverage on its own. But I would suggest don't touch your face while you're using this foundation. It's good now because we don't have to wear masks, but really don't touch your face, because it's transferring. If you won't touch your face, or like, you know, just touch it lightly, if you want to scratch it, just do it really gently. It's holding up 10 hours, I think, with some losing of coverage, with, like, you know, just tiny bits, like on my blemishes, it's losing a tiny bit of coverage during the day. But now I'm after 2 miles of walking. I just powder down my T-zone. I just gently take off the oils with blotting paper, and just gently powder down. Just it can look better on camera, you know. But here, as you can see, I was sweating a lot today, and the coverage is still here. It's still looking really beautiful and not too oily, and the coverage is still there. So my blushes, powder ones or cream ones, everything holding up really good. It's not losing the color as well. So like I said, just don't touch your face, because it's not transfer proof. But if you know, won't touch your face, if you to take off your oils, use blotting papers, not your fingers, it's gonna hold up 8 hours minimum. I have, like, you know, on my oilier places 8 hours is minimum, like still looking really flawless. After 8 hours, sometimes, you know, I lose a coverage on my nose or on my chin. So 10 hours, if you don't mind losing some coverage and peeking through, like, you know, some redness or something, if you are oilier, it's really 10 hours of wearing, or even more. I didn't pass the mark of 10 hours, you know. Honestly, I didn't, because I don't wear foundation and makeup that long time. But I think it would hold up even more than 10 hours. So when it's wearing, it feels like nothing. Like I said, it doesn't feel, or, you know, like moisturizer, it doesn't feel dry. It just feels like your skin. When you put hydrating foundation, you don't even feel like dryness from the powder. Packaging and shades. So I have it in a shade L3 GOBI. This shade is really good for olive skin tones. It's drying down a bit darker than GOBI from another NARS foundations. So if you use it in Sheer Glow, or if you're using an Radiant Longwear foundation, get shade lighter, because it's oxidizing a little bit. It's oxidizing immediately after you apply it, after you blend it. So if you are shade matching in the store, just check, just, you know, blend it with your finger, wait a minute, and then check the shade, because it's oxidizing. It's not a problem for me. It's even better, because if I would use it in the shade GOBI and it wouldn't oxidize, it would be too cool and too light for me. So this shade is olive skin tone friendly, but it's cool. It's too cool for me, and I am golden olive. So, you know, still, if you're more on a cool or neutral, if you muted olive, I think if you muted olive, you would like this shade. It would match you. Like I said, I just put some more golden powder on top, and it's working really good for me. So shade range, I think it's really good, because it's covering, there are more orangey shades, there are more peachy shades, there are more pink shades. I've seen few shades that would be olive skin tone friendly. So I think the shade range is really good. Like all the NARS foundation have really good shade range. It's not like you have orange shades just in different depth, you know, just medium shades, few medium, few light, but all they are orange. NARS have really good shade range when it comes to undertones. When it comes to packaging, like I show you on first impression video, it's just standard NARS black matte packaging, and you have shade name on the top. You have ingredients list. You have a bit about your foundation. So let's go to pros and cons. So for me, pros, it's almost everything in this foundation: the way it wears, the way it looks like, the way the shades are made, like the shade range, the way it feels on the skin. I have many pros that I see. The finish of it is really beautiful. It's like glowy, but it's like reflecting glowy. So it looks like your skin is just healthy, not you put some oils on yourself. Some foundation that are glowy look more oily, or they getting so much glowy that you look like you have mica in your foundation, you know, the glowy particles. This one looks like your skin is reflecting light, and the name is really good in here. It's really beautiful marketing of this foundation, because it's really looking like your skin is just reflecting this light. It's not looking oily, but it's looking like my skin reflecting light a bit, and this effect is different in different lighting. So if you have not much light, your skin gonna look less like glowy light reflecting. If you use it and the light is really white, you can see the reflecting is white. And if you use it, if you look at it in more warm light, your skin gonna reflect more golden warm light. And it's really beautiful because it's looking like I don't use, with this foundation I stopped using any type of highlighters because I don't need to. When my eyes start to peeking through after like few minutes after applying the foundation, it's looking glowy, but natural glowy. It's like you would put the best cream highlighter without the glitter in it. So the finish of it is really beautiful. The way it's holding up, even if it's losing coverage, it's losing coverage in really natural way. So you just have, you know, more redness peeking through or something, but it's not patchy when it comes off. Even if when it comes off, when you touch it, it's not like you have patch come off. You only have a bit more matte. This place is a bit more matte and a bit more like you have maybe tiny bit less coverage there, but it's not really visible. And after a few minutes, you know, it starts to getting glowy again, and it's not looking that obvious that you touch your face in this place. And just everything, spreading this foundation, I like about this foundation everything. But I must be picky, because when I'm saying about cons, I need to, you know, saying about pros, I need to say about cons. So let's go to the cons. Like I said, I'm being very picky here. And the stuff that I'm saying now don't change the way I feel and the way I think about this foundation. But I know for some of you, it might be game changer. So the biggest one here is it's not transfer proof. So if you're wearing a mask, if you know that your day looks like that you need to take a nap during the day, it might be something that gonna bother you. But either way, I think that, you know, if not mask or if not nap, it's not that transferring that much that it's gonna bother you with day-to-day life. Next thing, I'm not sure, it's glowy. Okay, it's glowy, and when you're always peeking through, it's looking glowy. So if you have really badly oily skin, you might find it, you know, you might find that you don't like this finish. But I think if you are really oily and you don't like glowy finish, you would never think about this foundation, because it is glowy foundation. You should go more towards mattifying foundation than light reflecting, glowy, or something like that type of products. I think it's just those two things. You need to use it with a primer. Okay, there's one more thing. You need to use a primer underneath it if you are more dry, or just, you know, sometimes the finish wasn't that good, so you need to wear a primer. But it's like, you should wear a primer with most of the foundation, because it's giving foundation more and your foundation gonna look better. So, like I said, I'm being very picky here. Today is a really quick review. Like, I didn't know, I thought it's gonna take me longer time. But here we are with the last question. Will I buy this foundation again? And this was very easy for me to answer after 2 days. I wanted to film it after 2 days, but I wanted to give it a fair chance. I was using it with setting spray or without. Today I don't have setting spray, and my skin wasn't too oily or something. So I knew I need to do it just because this review gonna be named 7 days. So I was wearing this 7 days, but the answer was obvious for me after 2 days. The second day, after my first impression, I put it on, I see how it wears, and after I wash it off, I knew the answer, and the answer stayed the same. Yes, I will buy this foundation if I will run out from it. For now, it's my favorite foundation, and I apply it every day, and it makes me excited to apply makeup because of the way it looks and the way it feels. So it made me use it more and do my makeup more often than it was before I buy this foundation. So yes, definitely I will buy it again if I will run out. Not even like, you know, I will buy it again if I will run out, but maybe I will find some better foundation. No, I will continue to use it after I finish this bottle, and I will buy it with my own money. So here we are. It was really express one because, like I said, I don't see much cons here. I don't complain much about anything, so there's not much I can say. You know, I can say only everything was really good, and that's what I said. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you find this video helpful and maybe, you know, help you with a decision if you want to buy this product or not, or if you're gonna like it. Subscribe to my channel if you want to see more of my videos, and hit the notification bell if you want to get notified about videos I'm posting. Like this video to show me that, you know, the week in videos are something that you want to see more. And comment if you have any suggestions or any questions to me. I will answer every comment you put. So thank you again for watching and being here, and I see you in the next video.